The bailout was absolutely necessary, but it's a really bad deal for Londoners. So under 18s have lost their passes. They can't travel free anymore on the buses. We've seen the concessions been taken away for the disabled and the over 60s at peak times. I think there's so much more that should be done in London now to help both staff working on the transport network and passengers be able to move around safely. I'd like to
The
see
London Mayor
creative.
was honest. He said this wasn't the deal he wanted, but it was the only deal the government put on the table. So he also admitted, I had no choice but to accept it to keep the tubes and buses running. We'd be in a worse situation, I guess, if people couldn't get to work at all. You're saying more should be done to protect Londoners when they're taking public transport. What do you suggest?
So I've suggested, for example, that there needs to be a limit. So there needs to be a management system on the tubes and the buses so that you can't get overcrowding on that system. From the minute that we went into lockdown, there should have been plans put in place for when the easing of lockdown happened. And unfortunately, it looks like London wasn't ready for that. TfL wasn't ready for that. I'd like to see express buses, so new express bus routes put on to relieve some of the pressure on the tubes. Let's send a clear message that people can use e-scooters, for example, on some of the new cycle networks that have been put into place. What about looking at flexible fares to encourage people to travel at different times of the day? So as I've said, I understand people now need to start going back to work, but I really think that between the party politics of central government and the Labour mayor, Londoners are actually paying a very heavy price at the moment. And I think a lot more should be done to put their safety first and the safety of staff on the transport network. We've sadly seen quite a few deaths of people who work on TfL. They didn't get protective equipment early enough, so a lot more could have been done. I do agree that the bailout was necessary, but TfL's finances were already in a terrible mess.